Hi, I'm Kelsey, the Youth Services Librarian here at the Detroit Lakes Public Library, and today we are going to talk about our barcode system at the library and help you understand where you can find books in our library. We've got over 30,000 books in this library, and every single one of them has a code on the side that lets you know where it lives. It's like its own individual address. So we're going to talk about all the different addresses in our library and where you can find them. So we are right now in the children's section of the library, and so that's where we're going to start. Now, if you look here on the side of our wonderful book, Are You a Horse? This is a fiction book. So we have basically two types of books in the library. We have fiction and nonfiction. And our fiction books are organized alphabetically by author, and our nonfiction books are organized using the Dewey Decimal System. And since this is a fiction book, on the side, it has an E on the top, and then it has an R on the bottom. So the E on the top stands for easy, and the R on the bottom stands for rash, which is the last name of our author. So you know that this book with the E on the top means it's an easy reader, so it's in the kids' fiction section, and the R stands for rash, so you know you're going to find it with the other R authors. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back with the other R books. And then here we have, of course, a nonfiction easy book. So again, we have the E on the top that stands for easy, and then we have our Dewey Decimal Code 599.36 SEB. So that's going to tell you that it's going to be in our area about wildlife and animals, and then SEB is the author. So this book is going to live over here with all of our nonfiction books. Now, also in the children's section, also in the children's section, we have easy reader books, and those are going to be over by our magazine. So if a book says easy reader when you're looking it up, it's in the children's section, but you'll find that over by our magazines. Now let's go take a look at where you can find our new releases. All right, now over here we are in our new releases section, which is also broken into nonfiction and fiction. So as you can see, these books all have an orange band across them, which lets you know that they are new books. So when you're looking these ones up in our card catalog, they will say new on them. So that means they are going to be over here. So on this side we have our fiction, and over here we have our nonfiction. Something else you might see on the spine of a book or in the card catalog, of course, is large print. So if a book says a large print on it, that means it's going to be here in our large print section of the library. We also have Westerns, and Westerns are also stored separately in the library here in our Westerns and Mystery section. So Western books, as you can see, these are usually books that are fiction, and they have a really nice label, a yellow label with red cowboy boots on there that say Western. So here that means it's going to be in our Western section, and it may also just have that W right there on top. So that's what stands for Western, and then the author on the bottom. And here then, of course, we also have our mystery book. So if it has an M on it, and then the first letters of the author's last name, you know that is going to be in the mystery section. And our mystery books have this blue label with a little Sherlock Holmes right there on the spine. So then we're in the main part of the library now. So the majority of our barcodes, or the back of our spines here, are going to be our fiction and our nonfiction. So here, this is one of our nonfictions. This is a biography about Teddy Roosevelt. So here it is 921 ROO, and so that's going to be in this whole big chunk of the library here is all of our nonfiction books. And then we also have, of course, our fiction books, and that stretches out this way all the way to the wall. And so here you can see this is very simple. It just has CLA, and so those are the first three letters of our author's last name. So that means, you know, you can find it just in the general section here of our fiction section of the library. So here we are in the J nonfiction section, which is the section I probably get the most questions about. So it's over here kind of by the far corner of the library. And if you look here on our code here, we have J, so that means it's in the juvenile section. We have our Dewey Decimal System number. And then, of course, we have the first three letters of the author's last name, which in this case, this book is being attributed to George Lucas because, of course, it's about the very handsome Indiana Jones. So these books, our J nonfiction, are going to be found here in this section where the dinosaur is kind of looking over everything. So now we're upstairs in the library. We are in the young adult and juvenile section of the library. And so here I have a book. This is, of course, all fiction upstairs. Here I have a book that says JSNI, which means it's a juvenile book, and the author happens to be Lemony Snicket. So this book is going to be found along the back outer wall. That's where all of our J fiction books live. And then here, of course, I have a great book by Anne Brashair as part of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. And so here we have a Y, so that tells us it's a young adult book, which means it's going to be here in our young adult section. And then it also has BRA on the end, which stands for Brashair. So that's where you're going to find that novel. Now upstairs we also have graphic novels, so if something says Y, GRA, and then has the author's first 3 letters, that means it's a graphic novel. It's going to be in the young adult section. If it says J, GRA, that stands for juvenile graphic novel, and then it will have the author's first 3 letters of their last name on the bottom as well. And now the last 2 things you might see either on a spine label or it might be something you see in the card catalog when you're looking up our books are, of course, SF, which stands for science fiction. So some of our books, like this one here, has on the side of the spine SF and then the first 3 letters of the author's last name. And so that is a science fiction, which is also cataloged in our system as being part of fantasy. So it has this label on the side where it's purple with a unicorn on the side. So you know that's going to be a science fiction or fantasy novel. And of course, our last one that we have is you may see the letter C and then the first 3 letters of the author's last name. And so that has been designated as a book with Christian themes. And so those books also you'll see on their spines, they have a blue label with a white cross on them. So that lets you know that these books are part of our Christian writing collection. And so also I wanted to let you guys know that today is going to be one of my last days as the Youth Services Librarian here in Detroit Lakes. I'm going to be transitioning out of this position in just a few days. And I really wanted to say thank you so much to the staff at the library, of course our wonderful patrons, and this fantastic community. It's one of the greatest, most beautiful libraries, as you know, in the world to work at. And I've so enjoyed my time here. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.